Welcome to the For Real Though Show, the podcast with the purpose for the people, brought to you by Queso What. Also, we have a new sponsor coming on, and we'll able to tell you about them later. We're going to introduce them to you first, though. So anyway, I hope all is well with everyone. I just want to sit here and rap with you for a little bit about some things going on in the world. It's funny, man, because things happen so fast in the world today. Like the news cycle is just continuously going so fast. And I found myself exhausted, exhausted with all the hot topics going around on social media and people have an opinion on everything, and I'm just kind of exhausted at this point, because I tend to involve myself in these things. Sometimes I tend to put my a little opinion in there. And had some pretty vigorous debates with some friends of mine. So, but I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of exhausted, man, between Kyrie, Kanye, then it was Dion, Coach Prime, and now the latest is Brittney Griner. So, I want to deal with this subject before the next hot topic comes around, because pretty soon Brittney will be off the, she gonna be off the list of hot top things to talk about until she starts playing basketball again. But anyway, I just want to rap to y'all about this, man. And I figured I might as well because, it's funny because so with Kanye, Kyrie, and Dion, it's pretty good harsh debate. You know what I'm saying? Some good stuff, some good back and forth. But with this Brittney thing, man, it's kind of wild because, as I venture into the social media and debating back and forth with people, exchanging of ideas and whatnot, one cat that I thought we was cool, I guess he just decided we wasn't cool no more based on something I said. I don't even think it was about him, but he was just so angry about it, that he just, I don't know. I guess he blocked me, unfriended me, or whatever, So that was cool. That's life. And the other one, man, this other dude, I had to leave alone because after 30 years of friendship, I just found out, man, he was just kind of fake. And it turns out I just gave him a lot more credit than he should have had in terms of my faith in his in the quality of his character, and his sense of love and compassion. So no, I found that I was all wrong. I've been wrong about that for years. So, but we take some L's in life. It's all good. But anyway, so I'm gonna get this out, man. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna chop it up, and y'all know how to reach me if you want to, talk about it. You can comment on, YouTube video, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think. I actually got an invite out there for one person that disagrees with me on the topic of Brittney Griner, and maybe she'll join us, maybe she won't. But not today. So we'll see. Anyway, so after we get done with this, I'm just gonna speak my piece, man. And it's America, so we all can feel the way we want to feel about, these subject matters. But what I don't want to happen is for people to just be able to deny their true feelings. You know what I mean? Because I think this is what this is an exercise in. This is an exercise in understanding people's true feelings. Sometimes in life, we want to sound a certain way without really revealing how we really feel about a thing, how we feel about people. And we don't want to come off as, racist, homophobic, anti-Semite or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to come off that way. So we try to talk around shit, and not really go straight to it. And, it's unfortunate because I feel like if a person want to be whatever they want to be, they should be, you know what I mean? I'd rather people just to own their shit. You know what I'm saying? If you got some issues here and there, because we all got them, we all got prejudices here and there. They don't all affect others the same way. So that's why there's no such thing as reverse racism, because, Black people can't be racist. And the only way we could be racist is if we had the power to exercise that racism over someone in some systematic format, and we don't have that. So while we can be prejudiced, while we can be bigoted, can't be racist. So, but anyway, so let's sum it up how we got here, man. You know, obviously, unless you've been under a rock, you know that Brittney Griner got picked up a few months ago. I think it was maybe February, something like that. I could be off. Uh, Going back to Russia to play some basketball, where she'd been going for the last 9 years. Makes a lot of money there. Goes through the airport and check in her baggage and whatnot. And then you're like, yo, Britt, you got some stuff in your bag. Yo, you got some of this thing, right? Vape cartridge that is the size. Well, they say the weed was the size of less than a raisin. That's what they said. The weed. That's what the Russians said anyway. So, so then ongoing, at the same time, you got a war going on in Ukraine. So Brittney was picked up, and then shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken, y'all can feel free to fact check me here. Tensions were really rising up when Brittney got picked up in Ukraine, that is. And so shortly after that, that's when Putin went all in, and it became quickly apparent to me that she was a political prisoner. That that little piece of weed didn't really mean shit for real. It was just she was a political prisoner, high profile person in the U.S. Add to that, she's gay, she's tall, she's black, and so those are all things. Maybe not the tall part, but the gay black part is definitely something that Vladimir Putin don't like. I mean, that's definitely a Russian thing. They don't get down that kind of way. Although they was cool with her playing ball over there, as many other lesbians, I'm sure. Not that all NBA players are lesbians, but you know what I'm saying. So we go through months and months, man. Her wife is on TV, at one point, at some points, I'm sure she's pretty upset, expressing how she definitely needed some help, wanted some attention. Some NBA players came out, LeBron came out talking about, talking some dumb shit about, whether, the United States were doing the right thing by Brittney Griner, as if he were a hostage negotiator or something. And he wasn't, and I think he figured it out. I think he quickly figured it out, but I think he wanted to stick his chest out. LeBron got a thing about being a voice for the voiceless, if you will, like Kyrie does. And sometimes it's really for the good, and sometimes it's not for the good. You know what I mean? But, that is what it is. So anyway, so months go by. There's still nothing. They're talking about trading her for someone else. And then the Victor Boot guy came up. That was always in the mix. And then we started to hear about, another American who was detained, who had since been detained, Paul Whelan. And I don't think I might have heard Paul Whelan's name before, but I definitely heard of him a lot more after Brittney got picked up. So, so then there's that. So next thing you know, Brittney pleads guilty, apologizes to the court. She's sentenced to 9 years, which is really over the top. Not for me, so don't get me wrong. I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. When you go to somebody else's country, that's their get down, right? I hear a lot of people say, that weed is legal, and that kind of thing. Well, it's not legal there. You know what I'm saying? So it really doesn't matter, what we think about that. If the minimum penalty for marijuana possession, even in such a small amount, was 9 years in the penal colony in Russia, then that's their business. They got a right to do that. And what I found out, though, is that that's not really what the sentence normally is, right? But again, let's go back to this, because this is going to be a reoccurring thing. She was a political prisoner. So therefore, all that shit about the dope really didn't mean anything, because we don't know. I mean, I really don't know whether she had it in the first place, because it's the Russians, right? Can you really believe what the Russians say? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I also thought to myself, because everybody was harping on this thing, man, she should have known better, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm thinking to myself, just let's just think out the box here. Let's just talk as humans, right? We're not in the court of law. We're just in the court of public opinion. So let's just talk about it, right? In 9 years, if Brittney Griner is using, cannabis for 9 years, and she's, let's just say at least 9 years, but just at least 9 years. If she's been doing it for 5 years. So I can't believe, do you really believe, I ask you this, do you really believe that Brittney took a vape cartridge in there for the first time that she's ever gone to Russia? I'll just sit there and let you ponder that. Now, again, ain't got nothing to do with the crime. So if she did, and it's a crime, cool, no problem. I ain't gonna tell them how they do this shit over there, right? But I think that a lot of us I think they forget the political prisoner part. I think they've forgotten the political prisoner part, and they thought, especially since she ended up getting exchanged for Victor Boot, so-called mentor of death. Then all of a sudden it became about the crime. It became about all kind of shit. We're gonna get to that in a minute, but we're gonna get to that. But this is so she comes home. She's traded for Victor Boot last week. She comes home, and why I'm really thinking, man, this is great. You know what I mean? Because honestly, when she went to the penal colony, I didn't think she was gonna go back. I mean, now for a long time, I thought that was the final step once they shipped off somewhere where you can't find her, right? And maybe that's what they wanted us to think, but I certainly thought that for sure. I didn't think, especially because Putin has been losing the war, he ain't got the results he wanted, and that was something for him to hold on to, right? So I'm thinking, man, this is great day for America, man, great day, she's coming home, blah blah blah. But to my surprise, and I'm not surprised by a lot of things. Man, I'm really not. But I was really surprised that a lot of people were just like the total opposite. They were really pissed. They were, mad because she got back. And then it was almost like it was a joke. Like people joke a lot about an American being held in a rogue nation. Like they, and I think it's unfortunate because, like Twitter's fun, Facebook can be fun, all that shit can be funny. Insta, whatever. It could all be fun. And we definitely get our jokes off. I mean, Black Twitter is one of the funniest things ever invented in the history of the world. But also, it can also be very petty. And I think it gives us a disillusioned sense of reality. Like we think the shit is a game. Like we think her being over there is a game, or what happened to her is a game. Or if it not for the grace of God, what could happen to you? You know what I mean? Would be a game. So I was really mortified about that. And so as I began to engage in conversations with people that weren't happy with her being home, a lot of the things they came up with was the whole Paul Whelan thing, right? So it was a couple of things. Paul Whelan, she's drug addict, all that. Again, we'll touch on that in a minute. But it was almost like, well, it wasn't even almost like, it was like they wanted him home, but they didn't want her, right? They might, and they weren't even hiding the shit, right? They weren't even hiding the shit. It was just like, yo, you left a soldier, behind, yada, yada, And so it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking because I know, and I listened to the guy who rode back with her on the plane. He was one of the negotiators and stuff. And I thought to myself, people think that, I don't know what they think, but they don't understand that hostage negotiations in a rogue nation with a rogue nation is not an easy thing to do. But a lot of people think it is. So let me explain to you what they think this is. This is what they think. This because I've heard a bunch of stuff, about Brittney and how she need to be back here, and Paul should. And here's how they think. Here's how I think they think that. Yeah, put me through. Yeah. Could you put me through to Vladimir Putin? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Joe Biden. Yeah. Thank you. Joe Vlad. Vlad, what's up, man? It's Joe. No, not Joe Rogan. Silly. It's Joe Biden, the president. It's me. What's happening? I'm good, man. You know, how's it going over in Ukraine? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want to talk about that. My bad. Hey, man. Hey, I got to propose to you, man. You know, I know you're busy and stuff, you know, but I got a proposal, man. You know, shit's getting tight, man. We just got past the midterms and I need a victory. So I'm proposing a trade, man. Yeah, trade. Yeah, sounds good, man. You know, okay. So yeah, you want Victor Boot? Okay, that's cool. Okay, so no. I don't want Paul Whelan. No, I want Brittney Griner. Why? Come on, man. Now you want Victor Boot. I ain't asked you why you wanted Victor Boot. I want Brittney Griner, but if you really want me to tell you, oh, nigga, look, man, look, the Democrat, you know, she's gay, she's black, seems to check all the check marks for me. You know, I need to get it reelected. So what you think? No. I don't want Paul Whelan. I told you. I just want Brittney. Matter of fact, Paul Whelan was a Trumpster. Did you know that? Yeah, you probably do that. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. I know. You tried to talk Trump about. Yeah. Trump was cool. But anyway, I'm just saying, can we get the girl? Can we get the girl, you know, the basketball player? That's what I'm interested in. Can you do that? And we can change that for Victor Boot. What you think? You down with that? Yep. All right. Thanks, Vlad. All right. Appreciate you, man. Holla. That's how a lot of us think this shit went down. But that's not how it goes. That's not how, see, people think this is like some sport trade business. You know what I'm saying? They always talk about, it's not an equal swap. It's not an equal swap. Fuck does that mean? I mean, this is not like, if you like sports like I do, then you know it's been some wild trades in the world of sports, right? If you're an old Cardinals fan, you remember 1964 when Lou Brock was traded for Ernie Broglio? You don't even know who that is, and neither do I. You sure as hell knew who the hell Lou Brock is, right? Right, okay. Another one is like Herschel Walker, right? Speaking of Herschel Walker, that dude exhausted me too. You know, Herschel Walker was traded from the Dallas Cowboys and Minnesota Vikings. And you know what the Vikings got? I mean, you know what the Cowboys ended up getting back for him? Emmitt Smith, Russell Maryland, Alvin Harper, Robert Jones, Kevin Smith, Darren Woodson. Now, he got more than that, but those were the main people, right? Yeah, so that was a lopsided trade. Well, put it this way. Hey, the Vikings wanted Herschel. It is what it is. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, right? Okay, so obviously the Vikings wanted him really bad. It didn't work out for him. Did you know that the New Jersey Nets traded Kyle Korver for a copy machine? A copy machine. I know. You don't believe it. But no, it's true. It's really true. Okay, well, it's sort of true. So Kyle Korver was traded for cash. Okay, he was traded for cash. So the Nets could enter they had a fee. They had a fee for their summer league team. So they couldn't pay the fee. So they used the money that they traded Kyle Korver for, cash, to enter their summer league team into the summer league. And then they used the rest of the money to buy a copy machine. Now, those are facts. You can look them up. Right. So that's the trade, right? You know, they tell you, hey, we're going to trade KD. We're going to trade Kyrie. Because LeBron going to get traded, right? Albert Pujols. So they going to get all of that shit, right? But I need you to understand something, man. That's all fun and games. That's all cool, right? That's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is not some fun and games, bullshit sports show about where a player is going to play. Okay? And let me tell you something. I went to a pretty good high school, you know, Lincoln Senior High School, class of 85. I went to Webster University, you know, for a couple of years. And Then those are great schools. That's some great teachers. But one thing I did not learn, whether it was elementary, secondary, high school, junior high, college, you know what I did learn? How to be a high stakes hostage negotiator against a rogue nation. Excuse me, I'm just tripping. I didn't take hostage negotiations in school, but I know a lot of you motherfuckers have the way you talk. The way y'all talk, a whole lot of y'all, because y'all think the shit just happened, like I said. Vlad, what up? Yeah, that's not how the shit go, yo. It's not how the shit go. But that's how a lot of y'all think it is, because y'all talk about it like, yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. Let's just get into this. So we started with some of the people, some of the back talk that I heard, that I saw people, Dems need more votes. That was one guy. She committed a crime. She's just a basketball player. She's a weed smoking lesbian basketball player. But Victor Boot is the merchant of death. Look at all the damage he's done. So we'll deal with those. We'll deal with those as we go. Because they brought them up. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. I don't want to try to shut nobody's mouth. Let's talk about it. So let's start with the merchant of death. Bad guy, get it? Criminal, get it? That's why he was caught. That's why he was in jail. They even made a movie about it called The Art of War. Was it The Art of War? Or The Lord of War? Aha, that's a fine. The Lord of War, with Nicolas Cage was in it, right? So, all that is true. Don't disagree with none of that. Yeah, I don't know if the cat got connections still, if he been dealing arms since he been in federal prison, But let's just not forget. Let's just not forget the United States has its own history of committing brutal crimes around the world. Okay, and we can go back to 9/11. I'm sure you remember when Rumsfeld, Bush, Cheney, Powell, Condi Rice, they all lied. They all lied about who was responsible for 9/11. George Bush even let some bin Ladens leave the country when no one could even fly, right? No one could fly at all at that time. And George Bush let a couple bin Ladens get up out the spot while it was hot. So they lied about that, got them out, sent us to war in Iraq where many troops were killed, many citizens were killed. Yeah, I'm sure we got a few terrorists, but at the same time, we kind of created that shit at the same time. Not we did. All that shit was a lie. Okay, so if we're looking to get a trade, like a war criminal trade, then it seems like all of our war criminals are here. So they're safe. They're like in Texas. They're in Wyoming. They're called chilling. So we don't have a Victor Boot to trade them. Although, because they're here, right? It ain't that we ain't got motherfuckers like Victor Boot that have worked for the United States. Well, ask Patrice Lumumba's family about that, if you don't know. Right? So, let's understand that. Let me ask you a question. Do you know that we spy on people? United States. Do you know that? We spy on Israel. We spy on Russia. Spy on China. Spy on North Korea. Guess what? They spy on us too. So even our allies, we spy on them motherfuckers. That's the truth, man. Look, you stupid if you don't, because it's a hard, cold, cruel, harsh geopolitical world out there. And you better be on your P's and Q's. So a lot of times the reason you don't have war is because you got a motherfucker stopping that shit by being prepared, by, knowing all these different angles. How do you think, they had a coup attempt in Germany How do you think they found out about this shit before it went down? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is a lot of shit, man, that goes on in this world that I don't know about, that you don't know about. Yet we can't be acting out like we know the shit, like we know the shit back and forth, like we can speak on the shit with some authority or something, right? And you know, the thing is, man, is we just ain't qualified to make the decision. We ain't qualified to be in a room. Fuck. If we was in there talking, man, shit, Russians be them pissed on us, man. Shit all over our damn theories and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know. We don't know how to go in there, you know, and get what needs to be got. You know what I mean? Or to get the best you can get. We don't know. So the point is that if you're unqualified to make these decisions, and if you knew, like if a lot of Americans knew how the sausage is made in terms of keeping America safe, in terms of hostage negotiations, if we knew how the sausages were made, how the sausage was made, you know, so if you don't know what that term means, sausage is made, what you mean by that? So there's a term. So I used to live in East St. Louis, as you all know. And next to East St. Louis, you got like Brooklyn, all these little small towns, right? Venice, all these small towns, and they had slaughterhouses up there, right? And so you ride by there, man, and it stank because they slaughtered animals, you know, package consuming them up for meat. And so while they were doing this, you know, a lot of people who work at those plants don't eat meat. You know why? Because they see what it's like with the blood and the guts, and you put all that shit in there, you know, and, you know, it's one thing to have a steak, right? But as soon as you start ground beef, pulled pork, right? Hot dog, kielbasa, all of that shit. When you see how the sausage is made, it tends to give you a different perspective than just what it smells like when it's done, when it's sitting there on your stove. And you're like, it sure smells good. Let me put some onions on it. Oh, yeah, this looks good. Yeah. So a lot of people who used to do that, when they work in these places and they see how the sausage is made, they don't fuck with it. So what I'm saying to you is just like this, you don't know how the sausage is made. So it's kind of hard to be a judge of that shit unless you got some patterns to go by. And if you got some patterns to go by, then it would be different, you know, because you got something to look at. You can say, okay, well, that's the third gay basketball player they done brought over here, right? But that ain't the case. So, you know, another thing is, so let's go. Let's talk about it. So let's talk about the Marine. You go, what about the Marine? Okay, well, what about the Marine? Most of you, just like I was, because I didn't know this too recently, most of us have kind of had this image that, you know, the Marine, you know, he's just a wholesome guy, served his country proudly, blah, 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 deserves to be home. What they didn't tell us, which is what's coming out, it's not the case. It turns out that Mr. Whelan, again, they was calling him a Marine, but he's no longer a Marine. And there's a reason why he's no longer a Marine. Did he retire Marine? Did he put in 20-something years of service? You know, did he get hurt on the battlefield? You know what I mean? Did he come on with a Purple Heart? Well, no, according to Snopes, pretty good source. Specifically, Whelan received a bad conduct discharge by a special court martial in 2008. So why was he court-martialed? Attempted larceny, false statements, dereliction of duty. Okay. And let me just read this for you. A military judge sitting as the special court martial convicted the appellate Paul N. Whelan, consistent with his pleas on attempted larceny, 3 speculations of dereliction of duty, making a false official statement, wrongfully using another social security number, and 10 specifications of making and uttering checks without having sufficient funds in the account for payment. He was sentenced to 60 days restriction, reduction to pay, grade E4, and a bad conduct discharge. Let's look over that again. Making false statements. I was in the military. You can't. They don't let you slide with that. Wrongfully use another person's social security number. So that's like identity theft. That's identity fraud, right? Attempted larceny. That's again theft, right? So let me ask you this. So based on all of that, let's go back a little bit. So the way Whelan got caught up in Russia in the first place, in 2018, he was on a trip, he said to attend a friend's wedding in Russia. And he was detained by Federal Security Service agents, right? Russian authorities alleged he possessed a computer flash drive containing classified information. Whelan said the drive had been given to him by a friend as part of a sting operation. And while he was under the impression it contained wedding photographs. So he's basically over there. He's basically got caught up for spying. That's what he's accused of. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if Paul Whelan is guilty or not. I don't know. But is it plausible that he could be guilty of the exact things they're accusing him of? I mean, because you do have attempted larceny, 3 specifications of their election duty. We don't know what that is. Making false statements, that's lying, specifically lying to your superior officers, making a false statement, wrongfully using someone else's social security number, 10 times forging checks with no money in your account. So I'm not saying Whelan is guilty, because I don't know. In war, they say the first casualty of war is truth. But that being said, if I'm looking for a guy to steal state secrets, if I'm looking for a guy to spy, if I'm looking for a guy to do some dirty shit in another country, well, I want to do, you know how they do in movies? You know how they do in movies, like, guy want to be a gangster and shit, he want to get down with the gang, and he coming in like, yo, man, is this motherfucker a Fed? Is he a cop or what, right? And first thing they do, they check his background out, right? Check his background. Hey, man, let's see. Oh, yeah, that motherfucker did time in Lopal. Yeah, my boy Rudy was there. He told me, man, that motherfucker solid. He's solid. He ain't gonna do nothing. Or, they be like, I ain't never heard of that motherfucker. I don't know who the fuck he is. He wasn't in there. He wasn't over here. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in San Quentin. He wasn't in Menard. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't in none of them, so I don't know, right? And so if the person, even if they're successful undercover, they'll make up a rap sheet, right? They'll make up a rap sheet so it can seem like, that he was really a criminal, thug, all that shit, right? So I'm just saying, if I'm a criminal and I want to get some shit in Russia done, then I want the kind of motherfucker that's gonna forge checks. I want a motherfucker that want the money. Like he's already proven that he betrayed his country, he betrayed his military, he betrayed every man he, was in uniform with, right? That's the kind of motherfucker I want. I'm just saying, he fits the qualifications. That's all I'm saying. And if you military, and your whole thing is, well, I'm military, you can't leave nobody behind, yada, 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 then this motherfucker betrayed you already. And that's documented by your own United States government. And you telling me that don't make a difference? That don't make a difference. But you pissed at Brittney home. Hey, man, if he was still in state secrets, I can see why people would let his ass go. I can see why. That's what it is. And like I said, I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying if the same type of motherfucker that would do that shit will have the same kind of rap sheet he got. All right. And you know what it reminds me of? The fact that people are so pissed that Brittney Griner's home and don't even give a fuck that this former Marine, this disgraced Marine who got a bad conduct discharge is still there. You know, they mad that this woman, this tall, gay, black woman is still there. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how our troops retreated. Our black troops retreated after World War II. They went over there and helped kick Hitler's ass. And then when we got POWs, them motherfuckers riding in the front of the train, and the black soldiers riding in the back of the motherfucking train. The German soldiers are getting, you know, motherfuckers they captured as prisoners of war, they getting good food. They getting taken care of, right? Like these white folks they saw a kinship with these Nazis. So the same motherfuckers that was there with them, that was fighting along their side, no, you're still a nigga. Get your ass on back in. Get your ass on back in there. We want the German guy. We want them up here with us because we got something in common with them. See what I'm saying? So that's why we look stupid. So that brings me to this. This is the nitty gritty. It's the nitty gritty of the matter. See, because I'm getting this is all climaxing to one thing. And if you don't know what it is, then, you know, I'm going to just make it real clear to you. And I have to thank my friend. He's not my friend. He's actually somebody I know on Facebook. We never met before. But he made a post. His post said, I'm going to read his post because it's kind of funny. This is on the exchange of Boot and Griner. He goes, Russia got John Wick. We got Joanna Man. That's cute, right? I mean, look, I can laugh. I can laugh at almost anything. And like black folks been telling America for the longest. Hey man, we laugh at slave jokes because if the shit's funny, it's funny. It doesn't take away that it's a tragedy. But you know, sometimes you know, we can laugh at shit like that to get through our pain. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, we can stand on the outside of this shit from a nuanced perspective, right? Because we know we blessed at the end of the day. We know we're not slaves today. So we can, you know, we can look at all this shit and we ain't disrespecting them or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But we can make a joke, you know, here and there, you know, and we get the context of it. Some of y'all might not get the context of it, but we do. And for those who don't know what Joanna Man was, well, actually, this movie's 20 years old, and it's about a guy named Jamal Jeffries who dresses up, you know, as a basketball player. He dresses up playing this to play like he's a woman in the basketball league. That's what it's about. So, but when I read that post from my man Tim, I just started laughing. I was like, bingo, because that's the quiet part out loud. Finally, somebody said it. Somebody said it. The reason why you don't want Brittney Griner home is because she's a tall, gay, black woman. You don't want to say it because you don't want to look racist. You don't want to look homophobic. But the fact of the matter is, you value his life, the one who betrayed his country. Instead of the one who never betrayed the country. Matter of fact, you know, you got these people on the right talking about, you know, she didn't love her country because she's Black Lives Matter. Yeah, see, that's another stake in that. That's another stake in the heart. You know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter, you gay, you black, you weed, and you stick up for equal rights. You know, but, you know, I'm glad that the quiet part came out loud. Because especially for brothers, especially for black men in particular, I'm gonna tell you motherfuckers right now, say it to you straight to your face. If that was Nia Long, If that was Sanaa Lathan, would you be talking this shit? I don't think you would. I think you'd be happy as a motherfucker. You'd be USA, USA, USA. See what I'm saying? So y'all, so get the shit together, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, the right is glad. Those on the right. And I don't spend a lot of time on them, but I'm just trying to put you on game. I'm trying to put you on game. Yes, you got to understand this about me, your boy. This is what I do, man. No, I'm not in a hot negotiator, but you know what I am? I'm a fucking nerd. I'm a news head. I've been reading newspapers since I was a little boy. That's one thing my father introduced me to that I'll never cease to be grateful for. The news, searching, journalism, research. I like to know shit. You know what I mean? It ain't even for the purpose of being haughty about it. Nothing like that. It's not even that, man. It's not so I can build knowledge and everything. It's because I just like to know shit. I'm curious. I'm curious about how things work. I remember when I got promoted to a supervisor job at UPS, and one of the questions they asked me was, "Why did you want this position?" And one thing about me, man, I'm just gonna always be honest. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get what you're gonna get. And I don't always know if it's the quote unquote right answer, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just gonna be me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be me. And if I fall being me, being my true self, then that's what I'm gonna do. But I told the man, hey, you know what? Back to my point earlier, I want to know how the sausage is made. I want to know how decisions are made. I want to know how we decide to go from point A to point B. So I want to be in the room where, not as Hamilton would say, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I want to be in a room where it happens, right? So that was one of the main reasons why. It wasn't even for the money. It wasn't even the position. You know what I'm saying? Now it's cool, we need black men, and we had a lot of black managers there at that time, 80s, late 80s, early 90s. But it wasn't about the position. There was no ego thing about it whatsoever. I was genuinely curious about how decisions are made, why we do the things we do, why, you know what I mean? And so I took that in. And also, I wanted to treat people as employees like I wanted to be treated, because I had already had a long, career history and different jobs and stuff like that. And, I wanted to treat people the way I wanted to be treated myself. And I felt like a lot of people, get to a little management job and shit, and they fucking act like they forgot everything, don't know nobody, don't know how to still be themselves. They feel like they got to change. And I met a lot of brothers like that. I met some brothers who got promoted, got their little change in their pocket, they got their little title. And then all of a sudden, they just, it's like being in it's like being in one of the movies, man, from a guy who made Nope. What's the guy name? Peele. Like being in a Jordan Peele movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden, who the fuck are you? You same motherfucker the last year you was out here unloading the truck with me, and now you talking to these people like they're crazy. Now you act like you're thinking, what? But I digress. But anyway, so I say that to say this. So I've been a news junkie. I mean, when Donahue came on, Sally just referenced all that shit. And I was on all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I used to get New York Times, LA Times, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, all that shit. You know what I mean? And just read. I ain't talking about the sports section. Metro, local, world, political, all that shit. And so just from paying attention a little bit, I can tell you those are on the right who are criticizing this exchange or this, woman coming home. I'm just gonna keep it like the fuck the exchange, who are pissed, who are railing against a woman coming home, black woman come home. They happy Paul Whelan got left. He said, well, why do you say that, Chris? Why do you say that? Because now they got talking points. Now they got talking points. Now they can take this shit to the next. Oh, Joe Biden, he went and got the gay girl. He left the soldier behind. They ain't supposed to leave no man behind. So they ain't telling you the other part about what the soldier did. How come he ain't no motherfucking soldier no more? You know what I'm saying? They didn't say, well, fuck you had that disc for then. They say you had it. They ain't saying that, right? Because they know he's a criminal at home. That much they know. Now, Brittney Griner, she might not supposed to take no weed over there to Russia, but she got a medical card here in the United States. So in the United States, she ain't no criminal. Maybe in Russia she is. But in the United States, Paul Whelan is a criminal. So I got kicked out with a bad conduct discharge. Do you know that Paul Whelan is a whole lot of jobs that he can't get in the United States? You ever think about that? Because he wouldn't pass a background check. Larceny, check fraud, use somebody's social security number. You can't get a lot of jobs with that on your background. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, he might be the kind of motherfucker that want to have some station. I'm just saying, it makes sense. He got to eat. But the right is glad because they get to say that shit. And then all these, folks, they go, oh, yeah. Get the military people, oh, yeah. Got your chest all stuck out. Should have brought her back. But you notice what they ain't talking about. So they can say they put that on Biden. See, but you know what they ain't talking about? They ain't talking about these gas prices that went down. Because I remember right before the midterms, when the shit was out of control, it was like, you're concerned about what you're gonna put in your tank, and can you put the gas in your tank? Vote for me. You know what I'm saying? Because like they was gonna change this shit. They never said what they was gonna change about it. They just get you gassed up like a wind-up doll. Biden, laptop, Hunter Biden, investigation, Herschel Walker. That's what they get you on. And then we, being the little sheep that we can be, the non-critical thinking, non-analytical, no nuance whatsoever, think it's just as simple as a motherfucker picking up the phone saying, bring her home and leave him there. I asked my friend Janice. Shout out Janice. Janice might be the one to get on it, and I hope she does. But I asked her like three times. Because she's against it. And she was against it. And her main thing was Victor Boop's horrible guy. Horrible guy. He's done all this damage all over the world. It's inexcusable, blah, blah, blah. And so I just asked her one simple question. I said, okay, if Paul Whelan was released instead of Brittney Griner, would you be okay? Would you be okay? That's satisfied. And she's yet to answer that question. So, we going back and forth, we typing back and forth, and I asked that question, and she sent me something else. And I was like, yeah, I hear you. They said something else, and I was like, yeah, okay. But I'm still waiting on you to tell me whether you would be okay if Whelan was here instead of Brittney Griner. Because you say you're glad she's home. I'm glad she's home. But this guy's a bad guy. Again, as if we don't have bad guys. As if we ain't done dirt. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying we can't be acting like our draws ain't got shit in them as Americans, because our draws do got shit in them. That's part of the history. That's the history that they don't want you to know about when it comes to slavery, Jim Crow, reparations. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're trying to gerrymander. That's why they trying to keep you from voting. See what I'm saying? So I asked her, and then I asked her a third time. I'm like, still waiting on you to give me an answer. If Paul Whelan was released instead of Brittney Griner, in spite of all the things Victor Boot has done, would you be okay with it? You may have to hold your mouth, hold your nose and swallow it down, like I really don't like it, but would you still be okay with it? Would it be acceptable? And Janice, who's a very smart woman, a friend of mine who I respect a hell of a lot. We're not talking about no dummy. We ain't talking about a partisan. We talking about a real G of a person. She would answer the question. And my theory as to why she would not answer the question is because the answer is yes, she would be. But there's no way to say yes without dealing with the fact that you're valuing his life over hers. His life is more important. because he served in the military. And hell, for all I know, Janice probably didn't even know that the dude had a bad conduct discharge, because I didn't know until I started doing some research. Again, I'm a nerd. What can I say? I'm a nerd. And I love knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I just love learning shit. That's just what I do. So you know, and the funny thing is, so when motherfuckers come across me, like, they don't be wanting to learn. You know what I'm saying? They just hear what they heard. They repeat what they heard somebody else say. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and the thing is I'm not really tripping off the right of this. I'm really not, because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But I'm really disappointed. I'm super, super, super disappointed in people who lean left. Really disappointed in Black people who will fucking die on a hill for Kanye West and them goddamn Yeezys. Who will call this motherfucker a genius no matter what he does, what he says, who will, you know, who would cape up for R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? I had a cat tell me, man, a good friend of mine the other day, he was in Chicago, and he was in this little spot, man. And you know, they start playing some R. Kelly. Of course, R. Kelly's from Chicago, so whatever. And he's like, okay, it's cool. You know, I can separate the art from the artist, blah, 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 all this, that, the other, you know, okay, for a song or two. He said, man, this dude played 50 straight minutes of R. Kelly. He was like, he had to leave. He was like, oh, this some other shit right here. You know what I'm saying? Because, see, if you're smart, you nuance. You know what I'm saying? You know, we all make choices in what we G for, what we don't G for. Like, none of us are perfect, you know, sanctimonious beings. You know, it's just not, we're human, we're people. You know what I'm saying? And we all got our quirks and this, that, and the other. My thing is to try to understand your quirks, learn from them. You know what I mean? Be curious about them. You know, you ain't got to judge them and dog yourself, but by all means, don't act like you're smarter than you really are. Don't act like you're so pure when you really, you know, you might have some prejudices. If you feel like Paul Whelan's life and him getting back to America is more important than Brittney Griner's, then guess what? You can say that. And just say it. Just own it. But you can't have the shit both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You got to keep the real to real. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. We all make choices, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't fuck with R. Kelly. I listen to Michael Jackson. Especially when he was a kid. Oh, man. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we all make choices, right? We all make choices. But we have to own those choices. And for those of you who feel that, hey, her life ain't worth shit, or her life is secondary to his, just own this shit. But don't try to justify it, explain it, talking about us a soldier, talking about, well, she's just a basketball player. She's a fucking American. She's a fucking American. She's ours. She's ours. She's ours. And we should be happy any American come home. Matter of fact, you know, it's like 50 people, you know, that are detained all around the world that are Americans. You know what I'm saying? Different places. And I certainly don't know their names. I don't know that you do. I don't think you do. You know, you might not study and get into this shit as much as I do, but I don't know all their names. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, shit. Trump was talking his shit. And even Wheeler's own brother was like, man, fuck you. Paul Wheeler's own twin brother's like, man, fuck you, dog. Fuck you, Trump. Because you weren't thinking about my brother. He was there while you was in command. And Putin is your man's, ain't it? That's your man's. So how come you didn't get him back? That's your man's. But between social media, lack of will, laziness, apathy, certainly privilege, to the point where, you know, your politics decide who's worthy of coming home. And like Brittney's wife, her family, the hell with them. She don't fit our narrative. Because we rather spend our time defending, no, never mind. Let's just do better, America. Can we do better? Can we be glad when any of our people come home? And understand this isn't the NBA. Life isn't the NBA. Life isn't professional football, there's no trade deadline. And I'll always say, man, you never have to agree with me. But my hope is that people will at least, because guess what? I'll tell you this shit about me in a minute. You got some better information? Bring it. Because if you're right, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change course. That's what I loved about Malcolm X the most. It's because he was courageous enough to change course. When motherfuckers was white devils, he was on that shit. Honorable Elijah Muhammad say this. Hey, when that lady said, "Is there anything I can do? I know that I'm white, but is there anything I can do to help the movement?" He was like, "No," walked away, But when he changed, when he got new information, when he went to Mecca, got new information, he's like, yo, one of the sorriest days of my life that I'm sorry for is when I told that young white girl no. And you know what? All white people ain't devils. But, the racism is real. Jim Crow is real. They got a lot of fucking work to do. But if you with me, I'm with you. I don't care what color you are. So that's me. That's who I model myself after. Somebody like that. New information. Hey, we say this when we're one of my partners in basketball, right? Ball may go out of bounds, may be on my side. I may be saying, white, going to white, team white or whatever. Somebody might be like, hey, beep, beep, beep. No, that guy tipped the ball. Should be going this way. Okay, new information. Cool. I say in the pregame, if you got new information, bring it. I'm not going to question it. We ain't going to have no meeting about it. If you saw something that I did not see, let's get this call right. That's all I'm interested in. So all I ask is for people to just, think shit through. Think shit through. Try not to believe every fucking narrative you see on the internet. Try to have some empathy to say, hey, what if my loved one was there? The guy that blocked me, unfriended me or whatever, we was cool having some really good deep conversations, like we really did. And so he was one of these people, that was like, hey, she broke the law, yada, yada, yada. And so I asked him, because the brother's married, I said, hey man, would you leave if your wife was over there? Would you want her to come back? So he tells me, and I ain't saying his name, so I ain't, revealing nothing, so I ain't putting the brother out there, but brother told me, oh no, hey, if you do the crime, you do the time. I turned my own son in for a crime. You know what I'm saying? Now he didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. I'm like, okay, but man, my dude, if your wife was over there for an amount of weed that was less than the size of a raisin, would you want her back? He still wouldn't answer the question. Instead, he got mad and cut off all communication. I'm looking to go back to respond back to, oh, God, he said, where'd he go? Where'd he go? I looked up, he still got a page. So it's like, why be pissed about that? Just say, yeah. Let me tell you this quick story before I let you go. And this is the stubbornness of how humans can be sometimes. Stubbornness, speaking of Malcolm X. So I used to work with this guy years ago, white guy, and really, really, really smart dude. And I might have told this story before, but I'll repeat it if you haven't heard it. But we was talking about something, and I made a comment. We was talking about some philosophical, religious, or something. Me and Nick used to have deep conversations all the time. And he said, no, I said, well, Malcolm X used to say blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what the thing was, but whatever, I quoted Malcolm X, whatever. And so this cat told me, he said, white boy, he said, well, I wouldn't listen to anything Malcolm X has to say about any subject. I said, oh, really? Oh, really? Nope, I wouldn't. And whatever the hell I quoted, it was some universal shit. So it wasn't even shit about black people, white people. It was just some universal truth shit. So it should have been easily digestible, but he just didn't like the package it came in. So I asked him a question. I said, let me ask you this, Nick. So let's say this whole slavery thing was, backwards, right? In reverse. Let's say y'all was the slaves. Black people was the enslavers. And I knew how to get it too. I said, let's say you and your wife are slaves down in Alabama, Mississippi, wherever. And your slave master is Jesse Jackson. Says, I just really get it, but you say Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton back in the day, boy. Ooh, now it's the squad. You know what I'm saying? Now it's the squad or some shit like that. Obama, you know, that kind of thing. But I said, you know, Jesse Jackson, your master. And Malcolm X comes to you and says, follow me to freedom. What you gonna do? So he tried to play it off with Nancy. I said, and by the way, since we know that often the slave women were raped, let's just understand that Jesse Jackson's coming in to rape he's coming in to rape your wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gonna have you outside, you know, chilling, doing what you do while he in there screwing your wife. But Malcolm X says, follow me to freedom so you can avoid that. What would you do? You know what this simple motherfucker told me? He told me, I still remember the quote, and I quote, I would hope that my wife would just fight him off. In the words of Clay Davis, shit, that is some bullshit. So I'm like, Nick, come on, for real? You gonna leave your wife down there? Jesse coming now. And he got so pissed at me. He was so pissed. I can talk about my wife like that. I'm just saying, you said the man couldn't say nothing to you about any subject of any kind. There's like, it don't matter because he's Malcolm X. He can't steer you to freedom. You're just gonna let your wife sit there and get raped. Well, either you a goddamn lie or you don't deserve the woman. Either you a lie or you ain't shit for a man. Period. Facts. Mic drop. But we know he was lying. We know he was lying. We know he was lying. But he just didn't want to say it. He didn't want to let the words come out of his mouth. Chris, you're right. I see what you're saying. You have a good point. Let me ponder that. He didn't want to do none of that. So that's what this brother did. He didn't want to say, no, I want my wife. He's a newlywed too. And I know he loves his wife. He does. But according to him, if she had that little bitty piece of weed, then she committed the crime. She should have died all 9 years of the motherfuckers, all 9. See you when you get back, baby. Sorry, shouldn't have done it. You see that bullshit? So he can't fuck with me about it because I'm over here with nuance. I can agree with you over here. I might disagree with you over there. We're gonna have an exchange of ideas. But, and this is what I hate. I hate talking to motherfuckers that you ain't never got a good point. Only they got the good points. You ever talk to motherfuckers like that? Now we on something else. I know. But I'm just saying, like, you know, motherfuckers be like I hate arguing with insincere motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Because you thinking we on the same plane. We just have an honest dialogue. Like my closest friends, we could talk shit. And my closest friends, they'll be like, Chris, you was on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, why you say that? You know what I mean? And if they give me new information, I'm gonna go get it back. Or I'm gonna say, you know what? I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? And guess what? It's been times my mind has been changed 180 degrees. But I don't let my pride get in the way. I don't let my ego get in the way. I don't have to be fucking right. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better. You know what I mean? And I want the best information I can have to be the most productive, most well thought out fucking citizen to contribute to my community in this country. As an American, as a Black man, as a father, all that shit. All that shit. Because there's some people that listen to me. I got people that listen to me. I got people that I listen to. So the people that listen to me, I want to be on the right path and I don't want to lead them in the wrong path. You know what I'm saying? So I'm open. Got new information, bring it. But God damn it, if your information ain't shit, don't be prideful. Don't be more like me. Just change your mind. Or just, okay, I see what you're saying. Or we agree to disagree, which is sometimes a cop-out. Sometimes agree, disagree is a cop-out. You know what I'm saying? But Yo, we just gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta start thinking. We gotta start thinking out the box. We gotta stop following what the other motherfuckers say. Do some fucking research. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, unless again, you just want to be a simple motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Then be a simple motherfucker. You know what I mean? And usually when I learn the motherfucker simple, I just go on about my way. A lot of people have fooled me into thinking because I'm kind of a, you know, give a person benefit of the doubt type of cat. You know what I'm saying? Which is a strength and a weakness. You know, actually it's a strength. It's a strength. And sometimes strengths you even get burned with those. So that's cool. That is what it is. But you know, I ain't got no pretty pride about shit, man. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, hey, I'll get right. Pray for me, whatever. Right. But I'm gonna stand on my square. I'm gonna stand on my square. And you know what? Guess what, guys? Life is complicated. Life is hard. Geopolitics is hard. All this shit is hard because you're dealing with people, you're dealing with systems, and you're in a constant fight for your freedom, for your democracy, for your rights, for your pay, to feed your families, all that shit. It's constant. It's constant. And we all need a break. We all need a breather. We all need some balance. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, these different things of serious matters, man, let's try to be a little bit more, you know, read, a little more researched, a little more refined. And, you know, I think we'll just all be better as a society, you know, because then you can help me. You give me some ideas that I never heard of. But you can't do that shit if your mind is so fucking closed that can nobody talk to you. So anyway, that's it for today, yo. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Again, like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Any questions, comments, you know, drop me a line on the YouTube page. I'll make sure I hit you back. Y'all stay safe and keep it real. Peace.